Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session with the Market Trader. My name's Ray, the Market Trader. And before we get started, let's go ahead and review the risk disclosure. Just want to remind everyone that the content that's being published by the Market Trader and its affiliates is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as investment advice and offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. Use of this information contained herein is to be used at your own risk, and the company, its partners, representatives, agents, employees, and contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. We all understand that future trading does carry a fair amount of risk. It is not for every investor. An investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital. Only risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell futures, options, or Forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure, we're going to go ahead and turn our attention to the news and see what the news has in store for us today that could potentially impact the markets. All right, so here we are. Again, we continue our earnings reports. We have PayPal, UPS, Procter & Gamble, United Health, and then later, to close out the session, we'll have Starbucks, Visa, Boeing. Now, as far as news that could impact the markets, we have the U.S. Jobless or job openings, the JOLTS report coming in at 10 a.m. We have the consumer confidence coming in also at 10 a.m. And then we have some lesser news here around 7-year note yields. But I think the big ticket items, I would say, is the JOLTS, the consumer confidence, and I would say the ongoing discussions that we're having with China on trade. Those are, I would say, the three main ticket items. The last one here, obviously, most likely will not impact us for the session, but could impact us for the week ahead. All right. So now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure and we've gotten through the news portal, we're now going to turn our attention to the platform, to the portal here, actually to my trading platform here, and we'll take a look and see what the market has and what kind of context we can pull from the market. So let's go ahead and turn our attention here to that. All right, so let me go ahead and move. All right, so my platform should be visible now. I am, yep. Okay, all right. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the gold market as we normally do, and move our way to the equity markets. So let's go ahead and start with the daily chart. We're going to go ahead and take a look and see what the market is trying to accomplish here now. We had mentioned that we were starting to see maybe some structure that would indicate that the market maybe is no longer consolidating and may be breaking into some sort of bearish trend in the gold. So let's kind of look at this a little bit. We've been drawing this ascending wedge pattern, right? So if I take this and I take this here, it's not a. Go ahead and find an array here. So if we're looking at this, right, this is the first, you can see here on the edge of this is the first indication that possibly we are breaking this consolidation here. We had 3 consecutive candles here that have been bearish. we've come to the bottom end of this ascending trend line, and we've closed the session below it. Now we have an inside candle that's also below this area. So again, we had a candle that closed below, and we have a candle that is really not giving us an indication that it wants to come back inside this ascending wedge. So we'll have to see how this current candle, but we are beginning to see maybe that we are in a market that could be moving from a consolidation to a direction. Let's go ahead and drop down to the 4-hour chart and see what we can glean from that. Again, our goal here is to get to have the proper context as we head into the session. So you can see here over the last day here, this is actually I would say over the last week, not the day. Over the last week, we've seen the market, right, create some structure here to the downside. Now, we are seeing a little bit of a slowdown. We had a couple of bullish candles here on the 4-hour chart before we continued our sell-off. This was yesterday's trade. And now, starting with, I guess, into Monday's trade, and currently where we are now, we've made an attempt to maybe recover some of the losses here, but we still remain. I would say we still remain in bearish structure. We haven't really broken any significant structure to the upside. If anything, we still remain very much in the control of this most recent bearish candle. All right, let's go ahead and kind of zoom in on our 30-minute candles here. Overnight trading really didn't offer us much indication of direction. We closed the session here around here, and we just continued, in a grinding kind of price action to the upside. But this still very much feels like more of a retracement than it does feel like some sort of impulsive move to the upside, with the exception of this most recent candle where we had a relatively nice break to the upside that was met with more selling. So let's go ahead and take a look at the fixed range volume profile. Let's see where yesterday's price action and see where that puts us. So we're going to go ahead and start with this candle here and then drag it across here. And you can see at the moment, it looks like we did open slightly above value, but we quickly came back into this area of value from yesterday. So kind of giving us the indication that possibly there is more downside pressure in this market. We had a nice bullish engulfing candle up against this area of this ASR zone, this average session range zone. So it stands to reason if we are able to hold this 33.14, 33.15 level, maybe we're starting to get some potential buyers potentially stepping into this market, right? We have a little bit of a demand zone that's been created here down around 33.12, maybe as low as 30. Well, actually, I'm just going to go ahead and draw this area here right around this 33.06 level. Looks like that's kind of where buyers stepped in here in earnest. So we're going to go ahead and color this in green, indicate that this is a supportive zone. Notice that price has not been able to make it inside this area. It's held above it, and we continue of late to begin to create some higher highs and higher lows. We're going to go ahead and open up our initial balance here. We'll take a look and see what the initial balance range. So this is kind of for Asia, right? The Asia session took the market higher, And it appears that the London session, let's go ahead and open it up just for discussion here. London also took it higher, right? So London took the market higher before we came back in, and looks like we may have maybe some indication of some buyers in this market, given what I just saw with Asia and London. We are reacting away from the initial balance area from London. Here, that 3316.6 level again could be an indication that this could be maybe a potential recovery day. We could be potentially coming back to some of these areas above. All right. So let's go ahead and change this, not for London, but for our regular session, a regular day session here. So we have a developing initial balance area. And we've kind of identified here sort of the zones that of interest that we have as far as potential targets, with the assumption that if we do get a break above the initial balance area. We're going to go ahead and add our anchored VWAP to this discussion. See where London has. So London, we did cross below this initial. We did cross below our VWAP from London. We did come back down to the VWAP from the day session, and we did find some buyers. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw the secondary zone here. But before I do that, I'm going to see if I can lighten up on these lines here. There you go. That's a little better, a little faint. I know it's not quite visible to you guys, but it's a little bit easier for me to do the analysis. All right. So in any case, we have some targets above, assuming that we get a break of the initial balance range. We have the 33.35 level, which is an ASR, average session range target. We have some other levels here, 33.23.3, which would be the width of this 4-point range that we're in right now in the initial balance. And then we have the 30 up to 33.30 as another target here. So the what's interesting is the average session range is falling right at this area where we've sold off in the past. So it would not be out of the realm of possibility here if we do come back and revisit this area before we make any sort of continuation move to the downside. So while we are seeing maybe a little bit of evidence here of some bearish price action, I would say on the shorter time frame, we are seeing some evidence of some bullish price action. So it'll be interesting for me as we head into this session, if we do indeed get a candle to close above this initial balance range to the upside, and see if it offers us maybe an opportunity at least to this 33.26 level, and possibly up to this 33.35 level. That would make it a pretty significant move. But certainly this 33.26 level is well within this reason that it would be the most recent high, and we're down here at 33.19. So if we get a sort of a minor push above, that could give us an opportunity to the most recent highs. And then obviously we have the potential of maybe coming back to this consolidation area that we have here to the left of the chart. So I would say I was kind of looking at, I say on the higher time frame, it looks like the market maybe this might be maybe a little bit of a repair day. Maybe we're looking to fill in some of this area here. Not very visible here on this chart, but let's see if I can. Yeah, so this is kind of what I was looking at profile wise. So let's see if we can do this here. Yeah. So what I was basically looking for, guys, is kind of a repair session day here, right? We had this, right. So this kind of this area here, right? We had a very strong move to the downside, when kind of what I'm looking for is that maybe this area is in a similar fashion that we're kind of grinding our way higher, that we are going to fill in this area with some volume to kind of normalize this volume profile that we have here to the right hand side. So that's kind of what I'm seeing as so I would say going into the market, I would say that I'm I guess mildly bullish. Maybe looking for maybe the market to maybe revisit some of these highs. But the daily is still giving me some indications that we might be in the beginning stages of maybe a potential bearish move. So that's kind of what I have for you for the gold market. I would say that I'm kind of mildly bullish in this market, looking for, again, maybe a return to some of these areas that we've had here in yesterday's trading. All right, so let's go ahead now and take a look at the crude oil market. Looking at the crude oil market, let's make sure I got this symbol correct. So the crude oil market has been in a little bit of a push to the upside of late. So looking at this, looks like we had a little bit of a gap open. I don't know. Yeah, gap open. We filled the gap. We closed yesterday's session. I don't know if you guys remember, but we had talked about maybe the possibility of some sort of double bottom that's been created here. So what I'm kind of looking at here is, right, we have this kind of pattern going on, right? So if I just kind of continue this pattern, right, you can see that it appears that we've created somewhat of a double bottom pattern. So which would indicate that maybe there is some more upside possibilities in this market. Created a little bit of a W pattern. That's kind of what I'm seeing. The bottom of the W here being around 64.60. We have a candle that closed yesterday as a bullish engulfing, and we've opened the day with a little bit of gap. That gap has since been filled, but we opened higher, indicating that there's a fair amount of interest in participating in this market to the upside. Let's go ahead and move down to the 4-hour chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart, you can see that we are starting to see some signs. We'll go ahead and remove some of my drawings. We'll turn off initial balance here for a moment. We're starting to see some signs that the market is beginning to make some higher highs and higher lows. Right? So we have this candle that closed above this area of structure. We have this candle is closing above. We're making higher highs and higher lows. We closed the most recent candle also above these set of candles, and we're developing yet another candle looking to head higher. Dropping down to the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart, we're going to go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile. We're going to go ahead and take a look and see where price is in relation to yesterday's price action. So we're going to go ahead and highlight this is Tuesday already. So let's go back here for Monday. All right. So we'll drag this across to close. So you can see that price is above value, indicating that the current sentiment is bullish. We obviously have a resistance zone here at 67.25, right? So that's going to be interesting to see if we are able to make a new high in this market. We're going to go ahead now and open up our, let's see, initial balance is still not in play here. So we're going to go ahead and open up our anchored VWAP here, get a sense for what London's view is on this. Let's see, we'll go back here. Actually, what we'll do is we'll open up the initial balance, but we're going to open it up for the London and see what London has to say about all this. So we'll open up the London session and we'll see what they were able to accomplish. And you can see here we had kind of not quite a sustained auction, but more range kind of price action. We did have a break to the upside, only to be met by sellers. They came back to this demand area, did not make a new low, basically added to their position, and now the market has rallied up to the upside. So London, from an initial balance perspective, is indicating that maybe we are headed for higher prices in this market. All right, so headed into the session, I would say that that I'm looking for maybe some maybe my sentiment on this market is a bit bullish. I see some highs here at 67.74. That would be a logical destination for this market. I have 67.45. What assuming once we don't, this is the 200% extension of this current range. That's not the range we're playing with. Market has yet to open here. It will open up in about 4 minutes. So what my point is going to be, or what I'm going to do is, I'm going to wait for this initial balance range to establish for the U.S. session. I'm going to wait for price to indicate to me which direction they want to take this market, and then at that point decide on an execution that manages is within my risk parameters. Okay. So with that, let's go ahead and move into the equity markets. So we'll start off with the NASDAQ, which is of interest to everyone here. Looking at the NASDAQ. All right. So we'll start off with the daily chart and get a sense of what the daily chart is trying to accomplish here. So you can see here that we continue our trek to the upside. Nothing here indicating that we're seeing any sort of loss in momentum to the upside. Now we're obviously getting more participation. We're definitely getting more participation of bears here, but we are continuing to make higher highs and higher lows, and we're developing yet another bullish candle here to the upside. Moving down to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, we're going to go ahead and turn off our initial balance here for a moment. So you can see, again, just kind of we're zooming in on these daily candles. We have our visible range volume profile. Price is above that. Given the range that I have here, we're above that. We closed off this candle here in the overnight, also above some structure. We continue to make higher highs and higher lows in this market. We are above this range here that I've drawn. This is from a few days ago, actually last week. So again, we remain above some of these value zones that we've established in the past. We're going to go ahead and remove that. We're going to go ahead and drop down to our 30-minute chart. We're going to do a little bit of volume analysis and see where the market is currently in comparison to yesterday's pricing. So if I do my fixed range volume profile here, you can see that, let's see if I could start with this candle and move our way over to this candle. So you can see that we're well above value. We're coming back right now. It seems like we're selling off a bit, but it'll be interesting to see. I'm working kind of on the assumption that this is really just a pullback to maybe get us back to VWAP for a continuation move to the upside. This one candle certainly is wiping out some hopeful buyers here. So we are seeing, at least on the 30-minute, maybe we are in need or have lost maybe some interest here to the buy side. Again, it'll be interesting to see how well we react against this VWAP. If we continue to react away from this VWAP like we have in the past, then I would say that we still are in for maybe another bullish move in this market. Let's go ahead and take a look at the initial balance range for London. So here's the initial balance range for London. I would say relatively wide range. We weren't able to extend the range. So very little interest in extending the range above. So that is obviously an indication here that maybe we are losing a little bit of interest here to the upside, at least on the shorter time frame. Again, I'm going to be looking to see if VWAP is indeed an area where price, how price behaves around this VWAP zone. Otherwise, it feels like we are going to come back. I don't see anything that stands in the way of this happening. The fact that we weren't able to make it. Hey, David. The fact that we weren't able to get above this initial balance range could spell for maybe a rotation if back through the range before we see any sort of reversal in the current price action that we're seeing. So a couple areas that I'm going to be looking at is the VWAP, and I'll be looking at this initial balance low, certainly for London and maybe potentially, obviously, for the regular session. So we're going to go ahead and add our anchored VWAP just to get a sense for what London says about all of this price action that we're seeing from a volume weighted average price perspective. So you can see that price is now below our anchored VWAP. So indicating that London might be a little bit bearish in this market. And we are still technically hovering. So kind of a little bit of a mixed signal here, given the fact that we have some earnings coming up today. It could mean that participants are kind of waiting for the earnings to come out before they decide on any sort of specific direction in this market. So I would say that headed into the session, while I am still bullish, I am seeing that maybe we might be in a little bit of range price action, at least to start. This 23,545 level does seem to be an area of interest for me, just based on the fact that we have the initial balance low that was established here in London. And I look to the left and I see that was the most recent time that we've gotten any serious buying that took place in this market. If that is unable to hold, then maybe we start to explore maybe some lower levels here. We have the value area low here at 23,500. That would be another logical area for price, assuming that we are unable to hold here. But I'm not really throwing the towel on this market. This market has been very resilient. So I'm going to be, for now, looking at this volume weighted average price as maybe an opportunity for maybe a continuation move to the upside. All right. So before I kind of move in to the last couple of markets, just want to encourage folks, if you do find this analysis helpful, to hit the like button, to add a comment or two in the portal to indicate how this analysis has supported your review of the markets. That's always very helpful for me and gives me the motivation to do these sessions for you on a daily basis. All right. So with that, let's go ahead now and take a look at the last couple of markets here. We're going to take a look at the ES here, and then we'll move to the last market, the Dow, before we do kind of one final pass across all the markets. Now, we did end up closing a rather ominous kind of bearish candle here to the upside. We currently have a bullish candle developing in a market that is continuing to show us signs of strength, right? So we are seeing maybe greater participation on both sides of the market. We had pretty good participation on both sides of the market before the bulls became more aggressive and drove price higher. Now we're seeing a little bit of more aggressive behavior from the bears up at the highs. Again, participating, maybe kind of testing the waters here a little bit to see if there's any sort of appetite for bearish price action. But on the daily chart, again, we still remain in bullish price action. Okay. So again, daily chart not really giving us too much indication that we are headed lower. Let's go ahead and move down to the 4-hour chart. All right, looking at the 4-hour chart, we're going to turn off initial balance here for a moment and take a look and see. We'll remove some of our drawings here. Just kind of zooming in on these daily candles. Okay, so again, we're starting to see a little bit more in the way of maybe some range kind of price action of late, possibly due to the result of the anticipated earnings that we're going to be getting today and for the remainder of the week, right? So we've been to we've been to the highs, we've come back and revisited an area where we did get a little bit of a break to the upside, and now we're back higher. Now, what's interesting for me is that before we reached the highs of this market, we did get a candle, or we did see are starting to see a little bit more in the way of sellers here, even before reaching these levels. So it's giving me a little bit of an indication here. I don't know. Again, it's like any normal analysis here, right? As long as we're making new highs, then we're in a bullish market. But the moment we start to see maybe the market not being able to make a new high, then maybe we are in it, maybe having the potential of maybe the market reversing, right? So the fact that we have a bearish candle is not necessarily to set off alarms, but it's interesting that that we have a bearish candle early. We did not make all the way back to this high that was established here before sellers started to become a little bit more aggressive. So that's an interesting development. Again, this is still very much developing candle, but a developing candle that is developing bearish. So that's kind of what's kind of causing me to maybe pause here and take note. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 30-minute chart. Looking at the 30-minute chart, we're going to go ahead and do our. I'm going to turn off the bands here from my VWAP. I'm not interested in that so early in the session. So we're going to go ahead and open up. We're going to open up the initial balance range for London just to get a sense for London's session here. So London initial balance range did not offer anything in the way of extension, did not offer anything in the way of any sort of sustained move. If anything, there was a rejection of higher pricing, right? So that's kind of again a note to make, right? We got this bearish candle, and again, notice that we weren't able to make a new high, right? I know I'm kind of belaboring this a little bit, but I think again we want to be on the lookout for any sort of signs of weakness in this market. We have quite a bit of earnings coming in today that could impact the market direction. So price has made it down to this VWAP. It's kind of developing a bullish candle, which is to be expected if we are going to remain in bullish structure, right? We want to see reactions away from VWAP to the upside, providing us an indication that this market still has some momentum to the upside. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the fixed range volume profile. We're going to go ahead and locate the start of Monday's trade here and drag this across to the close. And you can see technically we remain above value from yesterday. Now the markets have yet to open, but we can go ahead and mark this level as our value area high. You can see here the visible range is also offering us the same kind of indication here. So as long as we remain above this value area high zone, then I have to expect that that price is either going to react away from it to the upside, right? Or we have the potential of maybe closing deeper into value, maybe revisiting the point of control from yesterday. You can see we have a point of control here at 64.27. So it would not be out of the realm of possibility here for the market to come back down to point of control to the greatest point of value before we see any sort of significant bounce in this market. All right. So headed into the session, I would say that on the shorter time frame, while the market still remains relatively bullish, I am seeing that maybe the market is tiring here on the shorter time frame, possibly waiting for maybe some additional news to come out of the earnings that are anticipated here today, this morning, and late and after the session. So we could very well be in for maybe a possible range day in the markets. That's the kind of sense I'm getting. London was not able to take this anywhere. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at Asia here really quick to see what Asia was able to do with this market. And Asia actually is long. So there's a lot, maybe some long participants on the Asia side. Not so much. No, didn't get any new buyers necessarily in the London session here. Okay, so Asia still long. London not so much. Okay. We're going to go ahead and add a little bit of mixed bag. I would say we're going to add our anchored VWAP here that give us a visibility, so you can see again prices below our VWAP, indicating that maybe there is some bearish kind of views coming from London. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the last market before we kind of review all across all markets. And if there's a market that you would like me to take a look at, since we are, well within the start of the session here, I'm open to take a look at that if we have some time here at the end. Let's go ahead and open up the daily chart. All right, so not seeing the same kind of strength in this upward move that we were seeing in either the Nasdaq or the ES in these markets. The Dow does appear to be a bit more ranging of late, a bit more consolidating of late. We did make a new high, but that was met with sellers. So yeah, again, maybe the market is still looking for maybe some additional information. Maybe it's waiting for some information that they are going to secure from some of these earnings reports throughout the week before it decides on what direction they want to take this market. Market's still bullish, but it's showing maybe some signs of loss of momentum here. Okay, in the Dow above all the other markets that we've seen so far on the equity side. Looking at the 4-hour chart. Okay, so this rangy kind of price action that we are seeing on the daily is obviously a lot more evident here. Okay, so you can see that we have a lot more in the way of overlapping price candles. I would say that even the bearish candles are showing a little bit more strength of late than the bullish ones. Okay, these series of 3 candles here are giving me some indication that maybe there is more strength in the sellers than the buyers. Right, the strength of the bearish candles are coming in a bit stronger now. Again, showing signs of maybe some slowdown on bullish behavior. I don't know if we're beginning to develop something in the way of some sort of head and shoulder pattern here. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching here a little bit, but I do see the head. I do see maybe a development of a right shoulder here. Another development, maybe a left shoulder here. I don't know if this maybe the beginning stages of some sort of head and shoulder pattern, which could be another indication of maybe potential lower pricing. We'll have to see. Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart. We'll look at the 30-minute chart. You can see really nothing to speak of here. As far as the kind of price action we're receiving, I would say across based on this time frame, we're seeing really kind of rangy kind of price action. I'm going to go ahead and open up the market here for Asia. So Asia was bullish on the market. So looking at London, looking at the initial balance for London, you can see that if there's any sort of definition of range, guys, this is it, right? Very much in range, right? A lot of overlapping candles. Which direction do you want to take this? Okay. This is I often comment on this type of price action, that this is the kind of price action where combines go to die, right? This is not the kind of price action that we're looking for to be a part of if we're looking to improve the equity on our accounts, right? So really rangy price action right now in the Dow. Again, we're looking at the initial balance range. It's actually kind of looking to see if actually we break that range to the downside. Yes, just this basically a sideways channel. So the Dow is very much looking the weakest of all the 3 equity markets, I would say, heading into the market. All right, let's go ahead and add our anchored VWAP here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and add our fixed range volume profile here, and then take a look at that before we kind of do a little bit of summary of all the sessions of all the instruments here, And so again, so you could see while the other markets were entertaining, maybe revisiting, the Dow is very much inside the range from yesterday, indicating that we could very well be in store for a range kind of price action or balanced kind of price action in the Dow headed into this New York session. Okay, so let's go ahead and just do one final pass across all the markets on the 30-minute time frame and just get a sense of what we're seeing here. So let's open up the initial balance range for the regular time frame here. Okay, so you can see that we are still inside. We still technically have not created the initial balance range of yet. We're still about 14 minutes away from the initial balance range establishing. We are seeing, I would say, a little bit in the way of maybe some bullish price action. If I just look, we kind of, I would say we're grinding higher, okay? Higher highs and higher lows. We have a nice, bullish engulfing candle that was established here. And what I want to point out is that we had two attempts to go lower that's been met by buying. Okay, so there is obviously some interest here to the buy side in this market. So I would say headed into the session, I would be looking maybe for some bullish behavior, maybe a repair day for the gold. Looking at looking at the crude oil market is also showing some strength here. Right now, we are trying to get above this 67.30 level here. This is the most recent high that we made. Price is trying to get above that to make a new high. Again, giving us some indication that maybe headed into the session, we are going to continue in this bullish behavior for today in the crude. Looking at the NASDAQ, now this is kind of where we're kind of mixed bag here. The NASDAQ, I would say, is the strongest. The fact that the distance away from the value zone or value area from yesterday, we are obviously seeing a little bit of weakness here on the top end of the market here, 23,600. But technically, right, we remain above VWAP. So as long as we remain above VWAP, I would say that there's still further opportunities, I would say, in to the upside. I have to make note of the fact that higher pricing has been met with sellers here. We're starting to see some selling wicks. So if anything, we are seeing a little bit of a slowdown in the bullish price action that we've seen in the NASDAQ of late. So headed into the markets, I would say that I'm still bullish on the market. I'm probably going to be waiting and trying to see how price behaves around some of these areas. Certainly VWAP around 23,570 is going to be an area I'm going to be looking at. This area down below here at 23,547 is also kind of a logical area where if we do still have buyers in the market, I would expect that they would be stepping in this area here. Looking at the ES, okay, ES again showing a little less strength than the NASDAQ. We're coming into value again. I would say that it'll be important for the bulls, okay, the recent bulls anyway, to hold this level and to hold above value. Otherwise, certainly we can come back down to 64.2750, and if we break below that level, we could come back down to revisit somewhere the 64.15 level. So we're seeing a little bit of weakness of late. We did manage, looks like, with this most recent candle to get below VWAP. Now we're trying to work our way back above it. So we'll have to see how price reacts around VWAP, if it's able to maintain this kind of bullish posture that we've had of this market of late, or whether this is the beginnings of maybe some bearish price action. And then ultimately the Dow, I would say, is the weakest of all. It does appear to be in some sort of consolidation range, well inside value from yesterday, not really giving us much indication as to which direction they want to take this, although it does feel maybe that it is a little bit heavy, right? We got three attempts to make higher pricing here And each attempt has been met with some sellers. So Dow does appear to be in some sort of range. So we'll have to wait for some maybe additional data that the market provides to understand the direction here. Okay. So just to summarize, I would say that I'm relatively bullish on the gold, or at least a repair day today, bullish on the crude oil. And then I would say kind of a little bit of a mixed bag on the equities today. I'm seeing some signs of maybe some bearish price action. Really haven't broken any significant structures, but I would say that maybe bearish to neutral on the markets, on the equity markets in particular today. So if there are other markets that you would like me to entertain, I'm happy to entertain them. Feel free to kind of post that in the chat. We'll take a look. And I'll kind of pause here to see if that happens. Otherwise, I'm just going to remind everyone to, don't be shy with the comments on the portal with respect to these reviews. Hit the like button if you're not already a subscriber. Hit the bell, hit the notification bell, and encourage me to continue to offer these sessions to you guys and provide this analysis to support your review and understanding of the markets. So I'm not seeing any interest in maybe another instrument. So we'll yeah, Ars. So if you can give me the symbol, Ars, I'm happy to take a look. I don't honestly. You're welcome, Dirk. If you can give me the symbol, I'm happy to take a look. I don't look at the bonds all that much, but I will do my best. All right. So ZNU. All right, so we'll take a look at the bonds. ZNU. Okay, ZNU. Okay, here we go. All right, so again, not a market I look at all that much, but we'll very slow but high volume. Okay, let's take a look. All right, so let's so looking at this, so we are in for, I would say, maybe a big move in the bonds. Okay, just looking at this consolidation pattern that I'm seeing here, it seems like we're coiling. Okay, on the daily chart, right? Looking at this, it appears that we are coiling, right? Coiling, some sort of I don't know if this is a descending wedge, maybe more of a triangle pattern here. Okay, let's turn this ASR off here for a moment. Okay, so we're in for some sort of move. Okay, I just don't know which direction is going to be, but we are coiling. We are in some sort of consolidation area. So yeah, daily is not really giving me any sort of indication here. I look to the left here. That's not really offering me much in the way of understanding. And I seem to have some limited information here as well. Okay. So daily seems to be coiling. 4 hour. Okay. So we have an area here. I think that appears, it looks to be somewhat supportive. I don't know if higher bond prices, what that means to interest rates, but so we are seeing that maybe that we have a little bit, I see a couple areas of demand here. So I would say that this area below here does appear to be somewhat supportive here. All right. So this area does appear to be somewhat supportive. It looks like we have another area just above it, maybe a little bit of a minor area also appears to be supportive. Okay. So starting to see maybe some structure here on the 4 hour that would indicate maybe that they might be looking to take this market higher. Okay, so we had a nice, pretty good pullback. It is a reverse correlation when interest rates go up. T notes in the unit. Okay, all right. So reverse correlation from the other notes. Okay. I'm assuming that the bonds have some correlation with the equities. Does that does that so interest rates go up, T-notes and 30-year go down? Okay. So if interest rates go up, right? If interest rates go up, then it could lead the markets to go down, right? All right. Right. If this is kind of indicating that the bonds are going to go higher, then maybe we see maybe a little bit of a sell-off, right, in the markets, right? At least that's kind of what I'm seeing in the bonds. We're starting to see maybe that the bonds are starting to increase in price action to the upside. Okay. Looking at the 30-minute. All right. So 30-minute, I would say probably a little bit more in the way of range. We had a pretty healthy move to the upside. We came back down to this VWAP zone, and that looks like we found some buyers here around this 110.28 level. Okay, for now, the question now becomes is are we going to close below it? If we close below it, well, I guess this is anticipation of a rate decision coming up here tomorrow, correct? So we'll have to see whether he's going to raise interest rates or follow or succumb to the pressure that he's been getting from the president, right? So let's take a look here at the initial balance. So this is the initial balance range. Let's take a look at the prior range here and see where we are. Okay, so this is the start. So this opens up at the same time here as the gold. Okay, so you can see that, yeah, the bond market is a bit higher. Okay, this is the market is a bit higher. So so again, there's probably appears to be some sort of interest in maybe in higher interest rates. Okay, if I understand you correctly, George, then the market is if the bond market is up, then interest rates are also are headed in that kind of direction, right? So right now there seems to be some interest. There's some indication of that. So right now, I would say as long as price remains above this value area that we have here on the left-hand side, this 110.26.5, then yeah, maybe there is some further upside to this market. We do have some resistance here at 111 that's exhibited itself. We have not been able to get above that. So it'll be interesting to see how well we close this next candle, whether we close it above the VWAP or not. That's going to be telling for me. If price does indeed close below this, then maybe we will get into a swing that maybe takes us back down to the lows of the day or lows of the session. So yeah, kind of an interesting market. I would say that it's probably a bit more range than trend, but a market that is right now showing some signs of weakness. Right, we in the overnight we have a lot of longs in this market, but now as we open the U.S. session, it's showing a little bit of weakness in this market. So I don't know if they're anticipating that maybe interest rates are going to be lowered in tomorrow's announcement FOMC meeting, but it is showing a little bit of weakness. So, all right, I think that's what I have for you, George. Again, hopefully you found that helpful. But yes, it does appear that the bonds are headed into some major move based on the daily. Okay. Yes. So FOMC, I think, is going to be telling us to exactly what direction the bond market takes for sure. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I think that's it for me with just a minute to spare. So again, encourage you guys to hit the likes, hit the subscribes if you're not already a subscriber. Don't be shy and give me a comment or two on the portal on how these reviews are supporting your reviews of and understanding of the sessions and the markets. And until our next session, trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. Have an excellent day trading, guys, and we'll talk again soon.